I am. It took a minute. How are you today? I hope all is doing great. I'm so excited to have you here. We'll wait a few minutes for everybody to join us before we start our recipe, but I do want to remind you that tomorrow we are doing our giveaway, of this free tomato slicer. I love this kitchen tool and I'm so happy to be giving it away to anybody who joins us tomorrow. All you have to do is invite a friend and have that friend name you in the chat, and you name them in the chat, and you can invite as many friends as you want, and it will give you, hey Fred Domaney, how are you? So happy you're here. Haven't seen you in a while. You can bring as many friends as you want, and you will be entered. Hey Lindsay, you will be entered into the drawing, and you can win this fabulous tomato slicer. So you could see it took me 30 seconds to fill it. Let me get this right below me here. It'll take 5 seconds, not even, to slice all these tomatoes in half. Look at that. Pour them, look at that, sliced perfectly. Do you see that? Right into the bowl here. So tomorrow, join us. We're going to be interviewing Nancy Holla. It is going to be so fun, and I want you so much to, hello Lene, so happy to see you, and Rhonda Morazzo, so happy that you're here as well, and I really want to welcome you all. So tomorrow, tune in, bring a friend, put their name in the chat when they arrive, have them put your name in the chat. You can enter to win as many times as your friends are here and put your name in the chat, and it's going to be so much fun. Also, I hope you've taken the time to download the Happy Spice Cabinet. I'm so proud of that product. You can go to the website. If you didn't get the email, you can go to my website nannybubby.com. Up at the top toolbar, it says Happy Kitchen, and click Happy Kitchen and you'll see Happy Cabinet, Happy Spice Cabinet download. So take advantage of that. I'm so proud to have all of you here, and so proud to talk about what we are cooking as everybody comes in and finds us here today. So guess what I'm doing? This is so fun for me. So one other time in the last year since the shutdown, I went out with a friend for dinner. Wow, that was amazing. I owed a friend a birthday dinner. And tonight I am just going out with a friend for dinner. And I thought, well, my husband, usually I'd say, hey, I'm going out. I don't do it very often, but if you don't mind, could you call in your favorite, whatever his favorite could be. I don't know what it possibly could be, but because of all of you, I have to make a recipe. And so because of you, my husband is getting a homemade recipe tonight, even though I'm not going to be here. So he's not here to say thank you, but I'm going to say thank you to him. Okay, I've got a little pop up here. Let me get rid of that. Okay, so let's start. We're going to be cooking chicken sausage. Now I posted a picture of this when I made it last week, and I got so much response on it that I actually wanted to make it live for all of you. So let's get started. Let me get rid of the tomatoes because we've been talking about nothing but tomatoes. And by the way, yesterday, if you can see here, all these tomatoes came out of that garden on Sunday before the snow hit on Tuesday. And boy, let me tell you, am I glad that I got them out of that garden, because they would not be good. And I picked all of these green tomatoes, not ready, but remember, tomatoes ripen off the vine the way that bananas do, and they're one of the few fruits that do. Bananas, tomatoes, maybe avocados as well. But it's great because these green tomatoes will all turn bright red, and I'll take you through that journey as we meet up every day. So let's start with the chicken sausage. Last time I made it, I made mild and spicy, but everybody was grabbing for the spicy and they left the sweet. So I just did the spicy today. And what you want to do is you want to pierce them with a fork twice on each end, if you can see that. And the reason you're doing that is as they heat up, they start to expand and they're in the casing, and sometimes they explode in the oven or even on the grill. So piercing them like that is a great advantage, so you have no explosions in your oven. I learned that the hard way. So let's pierce these casings. That one was not a good one. There we go. So that's how we're going to start, piercing the casing of the sausage. So I just want to remind you that tomorrow Nancy Holla is going to be joining us for an interview. Nancy Holla is a great brand specialist. She speaks to women all over the country and has many female clients that she talks about living your next best dream, living life's second half, and dreaming big and going for your dreams and not holding yourself back. She's got a beautiful message. Her message resonated with me, and that is how I came to become her client, and she helped me form my brand and my website, and I really want you to hear her message. So tune in tomorrow and bring a friend, and you can win the tomato slicer. Okay, so let's start first with these peppers. So with this sheet pan meal, we're going to do peppers, onions, and yes, you heard it, apples red and apples green, okay? And they're gonna caramelize with the onions and a little bit of the peppers, and it's gonna be just fantastic. But the first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna remind all of you, yes, Fred, thank you for saying hello again, and good to see you as well. This is a aluminum sheet pan. It's a half sheet pan. You know, you've heard me say that aluminum is toxic, and I really don't like it to touch any of my food. We can't work our way around it too much, except that I've got a silicone mat that covers it, and then I'm also going to add some parchment on top of the silicone mat. And then we will roast our sheet pan dinner on top of both protective covers. So let's move on now to our, let me get this out of the way, to slicing of these green peppers. So this is my favorite thing to teach everyone, is how to slice peppers, because the big question is, how do you slice peppers when it's time to slice the peppers? And it is so easy. Watch this. Let me get this out of my way so I don't elbow everything out. Okay, so if you can see the ribs right here on this pepper. By the way, there's such a thing as female and male peppers. So I believe that the 4 are female and the 3 are male, right? So, and it doesn't, they say the females or the males are sweeter, XYZ, XYZ, not sure. Not sure, but there is such a thing as a female pepper and a male pepper. Did anybody know that? Am I telling you this for the first time? You gotta chat with me a little bit here. Let me know what you know. Anybody ever notice the 4 humps on the bottom? Female. The 3 humps right here? Male. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna slice down the ribs of the peppers. So let me show you. Get a tighter shot for you. Down, 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 and down. And there you have a sliced pepper, and you can just take that core and throw it right into the garbage can. So these were washed prior to you showing up here today. We're going to do the same thing with the yellow one. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And we've got, sometimes you get these little inside growths. They're nothing at all, but I always do like to take them out sometimes, and they're very common in the yellow peppers, and I don't know why. So we're gonna do big wedge chops of these, like so, and we're just gonna cut them like this in big, just rough chop, nothing too minced, nothing too small. Just throw these all in. You can see that into the sheet pan. I can turn just a little bit so you can see the sheet pan a little bit as I do this. Sometimes it's hard to get everything into the camera lens. So there we go. I'm just gonna cut these a couple times, get them all in. We're gonna toss this all in olive oil and a little bit of apple cider vinegar and Dijon mustard. And I adapted this from a New York Times recipe that I found. There were a few things kind of missing from it as far as I could tell. And I felt like onions would be a better call than what they were asking for, which at this point I don't remember what it was. But I really, and also I don't bring pork into my home, so having chicken sausage as opposed to pork sausage is a better fit in this household. Okay, there we go. All right, are you all seeing this? Okay, yep, Lene, you never knew that. I know I never knew it either about the male and female. And fruits of the pepper. There's male and female blossoms. So when you go out and start building your victory garden, like we're doing every Sunday, you will find male and female blossoms on the vine, and it's only the female blossoms that bear the fruit, that bear the vegetable. And the way that you know the difference between the male and the female blossoms is that the male blossoms are just kind of straight and have a flower, but the female blossoms have a little bit harder, like bulb at the base of the flower, and then the flower comes out of that hard bulb. So what happens is the bees come and pollinate by taking the seed and the pollen. Hi, Tom Letitia. And takes the pollen from the male blossom and comes over to the female blossom and drops in the pollen there and pollinates, fertilizes that blossom, and then the fruit only comes out of the female blossoms. So just a little bit of education as you go to building your victory garden. I learned that this summer, and with pumpkin, the male blossoms come out long before, at least 60 days before the female blossoms. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna have any pumpkins. And then all of a sudden the female blossoms just showed up everywhere. So it was loads and loads of fun. Okay, anybody see this? This is an apple slicer. The best way to slice apples, tomato slicer, apple slicer. So do all of you give me a 1 or a thumbs up or a heart if you know exactly how, oops, I just got splashed, how to win. Whew, takes a lot of elbow grease to get that done. If you know how to win your tomato slicer tomorrow for the interview that we're doing with Nancy Holla. Do you guys all know how? I have to see it. You're gonna invite a friend, because we want to get as many people here to hear this information as we possibly can. And they are going to put your name in the chat. Okay, there we go. Everyone, there's a delay. I know there's a delay after you guys actually show it. And then when I finally see it, but I'm being patient. And they will put your name in the chat, and you will put their name in the chat. Anybody whose name ends up in the chat, no matter how many times, you can bring 10 friends and enter 10 times, and you can win the fabulous tomato slicer, which I talked about at the top of the show. Also been talking about it on Instagram, but they have to come here to hear how they win it. Okay, so this recipe, we're gonna do 2 red apples. And of course, the Happy Spice Cabinet got published on Monday, and I'm so excited. It's on my website, so go to nannybubby.com, go to the toolbar at the top, go to Happy Kitchen, and then you'll see Happy Spice Cabinet, and you can download that. Soon to follow is the Happy Fridge and the Happy Pantry. But speaking of the Happy Fridge, I actually want to talk to all of you. So here we go. This is how we figured out all the spices where there was the common thread through all of us. So please type into the chat what 2 things your refrigerator must have in it in order to be sure, hey there, Sue, haven't seen you in a while, happy to have you here, in order for your refrigerator to be complete so that you might be able to cook something of a recipe that you might have found. So what do you find in your Happy Fridge? Now, because I live in the desert, there are things that I put in my fridge that others might put in their pantry. Oh boy, I really gotta work that thing. Believe it or not, this apple slicer is supposed to be easier than not easy. So, so I put things in my refrigerator like ketchup and mustard, things that other people, if you live in a cooler climate, might not put in your refrigerator, but in the desert Southwest, I just don't ever want to take a chance. So I put some things in my refrigerator, Dijon mustard, that others across the country in cooler climates may not. Okay, so we leave the core in. And what I'm gonna do now, so just let's see, what did you say? Oh, hey Nancy, how are you? So good to see you. How's your son's restaurant going? I'm hoping that he's opening now that all these shutdowns seem to be getting relaxed. So I hope he's doing well. Nancy's son has a great restaurant chain. He's very talented in the Missouri area. And, you know, government there shut all those restaurants down, and he had a thriving, great business. So I hope that he's open and I hope that he's doing great, Nancy. And please send him my best. So today, for those of you who just joined us, we are making chicken sausage caramelized with apples, peppers, and onions. So what I'm doing now is just cutting these a little bit thinner so that they can caramelize. So we had 8 wedges that came out of the apple slicer. Maybe I'll give one of those away tomorrow too, right? An apple slicer, 2 tomato slicers. So bring a friend, have them put your name in the chat, wanting to get as many people as we can here to hear Nancy's message. She's a brilliant woman. I'm so honored to have her with us tomorrow. It's going to be lots of fun because whenever Nancy and I get together, you would think we're drinking wine, but we're not. We just have so much fun. Okay, all right, so a few more apples. Sometimes I think there's not going to be room on the sheet pan, if you can see it, for any more apples, or certainly the sausages, but we'll get them all in. So the most important thing for caramelizing actually is an onion, because onions caramelize really easy. And we're going to put this in the oven for about 25 minutes at 450 degrees. So let me grab the onion. I know it's here somewhere, right here. There we go. And let's just do some rough chops on this down the side like so. Helps us peel it. And I'm just going to do rough chop edges on this and get it into the sheet pan. Again, we lined the sheet pan with silicone. We lined it with parchment paper because aluminum is toxic, and I really don't want you or my family or anybody having that aluminum touch their food if you can avoid it. And you know, you're not going to die from it, but over time, why continue to put toxic items into your body? And we should all avoid that. So that's why I do it that way. So we're going to crumble this right into here. Get the apple seed out. There we go. Do this. Can you all see that okay? Yeah, I think you can. All right. A few more onions. Now this looks like a lot in the sheet pan. It really does. But the truth of it is that as you stick it in a 450 degree oven, and as the juices start coming out of the chicken sausages, and as everything starts to bake and caramelize, it really cooks down. And so it's not near as much as you would think once you cook it down. So that's the thing about a sheet pan dinner, is that it loads up and you think, oh my gosh, it's so much. Who is going to eat all of that? But the fact is that they do. And because it cooks down so much farther than you would think. Okay, sorry about that shot. I was just grabbing the olive oil. We're going to sprinkle olive oil right on top of this, like so. There we go. About 3 tablespoons of olive oil. And we are going to grab some salt. There we go. You know, apples actually have a great flavor with salt on them. They really do. It's kind of a treat. It's like putting salt on grapefruit. Anybody put salt on grapefruit? I love salt. Some people put sugar on it, but others put salt. I love salt. Okay, hey Teresa, happy to have you here. And Nancy says, thank you, I will tell him. He closed 2, but the biggest one is open so far. So he worked so hard. We're very proud of him. So I'm very proud of him too. I remember meeting him when he was just a little boy, Nancy. I remember at my mom's house. So that is so amazing that he's doing so well. So you give him my best. Tell him that I asked for him, and tell him that I am. Why don't you type in the chat what the name of his restaurant, because our followers that are here today are all over the country. And if anybody lives in your area or in the area, put the city that the big one is in, his big restaurant. So if anybody wants to visit there and go, they will know that they heard it here on Nanny Bubby's Facebook page. For There's No More Dinner Dreads. In case they are having the dinner dreads, they will know where to go and order in from. Okay, so there we go. Shamelessly plugging all of the things that I know and love, right? Shameless. I am shameless about it. When I know people that I love and I know that they have great things, I love helping others get their word out, and I certainly am loving doing that for Nancy and her son. Okay, so there we go. Doesn't that look fabulous? The olive oil will help it caramelize a little bit. The onions are doing great. Okay, now remember, well, let's see. Yes. Remember what we did is we pierced each one of these chicken sausages so they don't explode in the oven at a high temperature. And we're going to have to, wow, I forgot that these need to be cut. So let's do this without cutting myself, right? So there you go. There's one. There's two. You know, my husband hates seeing me do that. I've told you guys that. He hates seeing me with a knife in my hand. Okay, here we go. It makes him nervous. And then the other night, this is so cute, you guys, we were watching Julia Child. We were watching an old show, the Julia Child show. I'm going to wash my hands right now before I get to the next step. But we were watching an old Julia Child show, The French Chef, and I said, wait till you see her cut with a knife. And she just, I mean, you've never seen anything like it. With her fingers, she folds her fingers like this and uses her knuckles and has the knife come right up against her knuckles. And I mean, it made me nervous watching, and I thought he was gonna roll over and just like, oh, he couldn't watch. It was torturous for him, which is very, very funny in a way. Okay, just because he watches all of these, I know all your husbands do too. He watches really, you know, violent, kick 'em, scream 'em, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger type movies, which he loves like most men do. But watching Julia Child, which I get very much anxiety from watching those movies, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna watch that. But he like freaked out the way I freak out when I'm watching those movies from seeing Julia Child go like that, which I knew he would. I couldn't believe it. It was so funny. Okay, so we've got some mustard, Dijon mustard here. And we're gonna just stick a little bit of olive oil because this is down to the bottom of the Dijon mustard. And I'm gonna grab some apple cider vinegar. There we go. One thing I forgot to get, and I'm gonna pour in about 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. There we go. I poured it right into this jar because there's just a little bit left over. And so it didn't make sense to take it out of the jar, into the bowl, blah, blah, blah. And I'm gonna take this fork and mix it up. It becomes very liquefied. Now remember, Ina Garten always says a chef's best tools are clean hands. And so my hands are clean. I've liquefied this all up. I think I might put a drop of apple cider vinegar in this again. There's a drop. We're gonna mix it up. There we go. Okay, and now we're just going to pour it right on. There we go. Okay, so on to this. This just gives it such a caramelized flavor. We're going to toss this even a little onto the sausages, which will give it a great, great flavor. There we go. And let me taste that. Very good. Okay, we're going to toss this up like this. Get everything all tossed in. I'm going to add the rest of these apples because there just didn't seem to be room. We're going to get that in. Last apple right here. Okay, everything seems to be tossed and beautiful. Look how colorful and beautiful that is. There we go, like that. And one more just sort of drizzle, if you will, of this all over. Again, this is just olive oil, Dijon mustard. You can use brown mustard, seeded mustard, coarse mustard, just anything but French's mustard. And just coat that really beautifully, and it's just gonna have a great flavor and be so caramelized. And now my chef's hands are not clean, so give me a minute. I'm just gonna rinse them out beautifully. Okay, there we go. All done. So we're gonna stick this into the oven at 450 degrees. So I'm very excited about that. 25 minutes because of you. My darling husband has dinner tonight, and so does my son. And I'm going to go off and meet a friend and have dinner for like only the second time since the shutdown happened. Boy, we're almost a year out of the amazing shutdown of 2020. So quite amazing, but we've all made the best of it. We're all still here. We've all helped each other through it. And I'm just grateful for everything I learned during this time of COVID. So here we go. Just a reminder, join me tomorrow, 3 p.m. Nancy Hall is going to be here. We're going to do a giveaway of the fabulous tomato slicer. Bring a friend, have them put your name in the chat. You can enter as many times if you want. So if you bring 10 friends, they can all put your name in the chat, and you can put each of their names in the chat so they have a chance to win this as well. Great kitchen tool. And we're going to give away 2 of these, and I'm in a good mood, and there's a lot of people here. Maybe I'll give away the 3rd. So thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for being here, because without you, Nanny Bubby might not have made dinner for her husband tonight. But I did, and I'm grateful, and so is he. So all together, let's go out and spread love like butter. Thanks for joining me today. For sure, I will see you tomorrow. Bye.